everyone, I'm Huang Ying from Yunnan Normal University. Today we'll learn about some famous people in Yunnan province. Many people in Yunnan's history are well known at home and abroad for their contribution to the historical, cultural, and economic development of Yunnan province. Since time is limited, I will focus on 15 of them. Now, the first person I will introduce to you is Mr. Zheng He, who was a famous navigator in the Ming Dynasty. Zheng He was born in Kunyang of Yunnan in 1371. His birth name was Ma Sanbao, but he was sent to the palace as a eunuch and later became a servant to Emperor Zhu Di. He was noticed for his bravery and brilliance in the war and was promoted to be a court eunuch. Emperor Zhu Di bestowed the surname Zheng on him. During the 28 years from 1405 to 1433, altogether 7 overseas voyages to Southeast Asia, South Asia, the Middle East, and East Africa. He traveled as far as the east shore of Africa and the mouth of the Red Sea. His fleet visited 39 countries, delivering large quantities of porcelain, lacquer, steel, and tea products to them, and bring back products and cultures of these countries back to China. These voyages greatly helped culture and economic exchanges with the rest of the world. His voyages were 87 years earlier than Columbus' voyage to America and 116 years earlier than Magellan's round-the-world voyage, and are considered a wonder in the world history of voyages. To commemorate Zheng He, the China State Council appointed July the 11th as Maritime Day in China beginning in 2005 because July the 11th was the date when Zheng He made his first ocean voyage. In Zhengyue Mountain in Kunyang town, there's a park that was built to commemorate him. Inside this park, you can see a statue of Zheng He as well as some pavilions and exhibition rooms where his brilliant achievements are presented. The second person I will present to you is Mr. Yang Shen, a famous scholar from the Ming Dynasty. He is remembered for his studies and contributions to the history and culture of Yunnan. Yang Shen was born in Xingdu County of Sichuan Province in 1488. In 1511, he became number 1 in the imperial examination and was assigned to work in the imperial academy. He angered the emperor by his comments on court rituals and was exiled to Yongcang, which is the present-day Baoshan city, where he spent his last 35 years in Yunnan. During these years, he made trips to Kunming, Dali, Jianshui, and other cities. He studied local history, wrote academic works, and made other great contributions to Yunnan. He was a very productive scholar and wrote many works such as Travel in Yunnan, Transportation in Yunnan, and Annals of Mountains and Rivers in Yunnan. He was not pardoned until after his death in Gaoqiao in Kunming. The former residence of Yang Shen at Gaoqiao was turned into the Shen'an Temple. Now, this temple has become the Yang Shen'an Memorial. Now, let's go on. The third person I will present is Mr. Xu Xiake, who was a world-renowned travel writer and geographer during the Ming Dynasty. He traveled throughout China for more than 30 years and documented his experiences in great detail. Xu Xiake was born in Jiangyin of Jiangsu province. He gave up his official career and devoted himself to the exploration of the beautiful rivers and mountains in China. He traveled to and investigated 19 provinces, cities, and autonomous regions in China. Yunnan was his last destination and was also where he put the most passion into his investigations. He came to Yunnan in 1638 and visited more than 30 counties. He documented what he saw in his travel notes, which were later sorted by his friends and turned into the famous Travel Notes of Xu Xiake. This book contains more than 630,000 words. The part called Travel in Yunnan, with 250,000 words, makes up 40% of the whole book. Travel Notes of Xu Xiake is a quite important geographical work and travel record in the history of China. The date when he started writing these travel books was May the 19th, 1613. Therefore, in his honor since 2011, May 19th was appointed as National Tourism Day in China. A white marble statue of Xu Xiake can be found in Liaokuo Park in Qujing City. The next famous person I will introduce is Mr. Sun Rang. Sun Rang was born in Sanyuan town of Shanxi province. He grew up by the Panlongjiang River and had his early education in that area. He was a civilian during the reign of Qing Emperor Kangxi and liked blossom. He declared himself to be civilian among the plum blossoms. In his later years, he suffered from poverty and had to make a living by telling fortunes in Yuantong Temple in Kunming. In his old age, he moved to Mile County to stay with his son, who had a business there. He died in Mile and was buried there as well. Sun Rang was a knowledgeable scholar who was very good at poems, ancient Chinese prose, and ci and fu. Ci and fu are two literary forms in the Chinese language. His famous long couplet can be found in Daguan Pavilion in Kunming. It has been recited for generations and is considered the first long couplet in China. Mao Zedong declared it to be the most unique couplet in its style and creativity. The tomb of Sun Rang is now in Mile, and it is a historic site under provincial protection. Now we go on. The fifth famous person in this session is Mr. Yuan Jiagu, who is remembered for his cultural contribution to Yunnan. Yuan Jiagu was born in Shiping County in Yunnan province. In 1903, he became the #1 scholar in economics in the imperial examination and was the first person in Yunnan history who had ever won such an honor. The Empress Dowager Cixi called him in twice. Yunnan Governor Wei Guangtao inscribed a horizontal board with the 4 Chinese characters 大魁天下, which is hung in the Jukui Pavilion in South Kunming. That building was later called the Zhuangyuan Pavilion. He began working in the Imperial Academy after that. Later, he went to Japan on a tour of inspection. When he came back, he held positions as director of the translation press and provincial officials of Zhejiang province. After the 1911 revolution, he came back to Yunnan and successively held the positions of provincial senator, the official in charge of sword affairs, and professor of Donglu University. Donglu University is the present Yunnan University. He was the general editor for the collections of poems in Yunnan and wrote many poems and essays. Yuan Jiagu had two residences. The one in Shiping County is a typical civil structured square court architecture, and it is a historic site under provincial protection. The second one near Green Lake Park in Kunming is a courtyard building and is under municipal protection. All right, I will stop here for now and will continue to introduce other famous people to you in the next sessions. Now, bye for now. See you next time. 这里是课程中的关键词汇，同学们别忘了，这也是知识点。